orders on the ETF, and it's the largest loss since April 16th. I mean, come on,
I'm
man,
in a
it's
trade
not
for
really
NQ
a
right
big
now.
loss now, is it? The balance is still sitting nicely at 620,000, 96
It's looking
million.
good right now.
Sorry, even if these were sell orders, you just got 2 transactions at 30, well, 3 transactions at 30 million each, okay? They're buying way more than that in the ETF, and it's being processed all the time.
This
So
800.
for me, a $96 million
also on a
outflow
long for
is not
Bitcoin.
something to be concerned about.
This is
Maybe
what I
a
want to see for
$1.3
Bitcoin.
billion outflow
Wants to
on
go
the
up
ETF
and
would
recover
probably
these
be something
vectors.
to be concerned about. But what's investors' expectations of price of Bitcoin? Well, let's just go over and have
The
a
only
look
thing
at the liquidation
concerning
chart.
me,
In front of you, you can see that we're now starting to see an even distribution of
it's actually
investors
nothing.
who
We already
are
got
favoring
this
price to
liquidity
drop
right
or
here.
to rise. Now, yesterday you saw that they
Just
actually
want
went and
this to be
attacked some of the
support,
short liquidations.
so we can go
Now,
up.
what I tend to see with this is this. If they are slow at attacking liquidation points,
For NQ, I want us to hit.
that the book or the dealers want to induce.
I feel like this was a move, like this was
more traders
manipulation,
to step in
to be
with the
honest.
conviction of lower prices.
Why did we just come
Because if
down
they
to come
believe that
back
prices
up?
are going to come down, what does that mean? They're going to be borrowing more money on leverage, putting up more
I
margin.
want us to get this imbalance right here.
And this area right here is going to fill with more concentration
block.
of orders of shorts, which means
I'm
that
just waiting.
if the dealers are currently keeping Bitcoin in a specific price point, it means that up here they are able to transact to effectively maybe hedge themselves or get to a delta neutral stance. What does that mean? Well, market makers and dealers, they always have risk, and their goal is to maintain delta neutral, okay? So sometimes the market maker might
This is
be
looking
in
pretty
a short
good,
on
though.
the futures
We
market,
have a
but if he
vector,
sees that
blue
prices
vector,
are
another
starting
blue
to
vector.
rise, he will then initially go long on the spot market, which is what you call
And on the
gamma
5 minute,
gamma negative. So he's doing
which
the
is
opposite
good.
of what his original position was, just to effectively hedge
Big
himself
wick
in
on the
case that
15.
the move to the upside is going to continue.
Still holding
really
the 802
and that
or
his
800,
short
not
position
800.
ends up putting him in a
The 5
drawdown.
and
So he
13.
goes on spot to offset
We've been holding
that
this,
loss
these
in
fucking
case it does
EMAs
happen.
since
Keeping an eye out on Donald Trump's schedule. There's
we were
nothing
down
really much
here.
happening. I mean, if he is going to be talking,
And I
he's
just
going to be
didn't
talking
notice
about
that,
investment in the US.
because I was looking at the
so
low
that's gonna
time
be good
low
news for
time
the
frames.
marketplace. But in terms of the calendar, we don't have anything to be too worried about. We've already had the wage price index for the Australian dollar, but it seems like it's pretty quiet.
But I'm not gonna lie, it does look like it's starting to slow down
Again,
a little
for the
bit.
holders, we said yesterday that we
So
need
I
to see
think one more
Bitcoin
pump
maintaining
up
itself above the 5
to
EMA.
21.
We've effectively got that right there.
And we
Now we're waiting
could
to see if price action right here
could
can
drop
sustain
down.
itself
It's a
and then
possibility.
climb up again and maybe try and take out that all-time high. It's not too far away, ladies and gentlemen, okay? And a lot of people are speculating that Bitcoin is going to drop.
For
It
this
would only
W
make sense
formation,
that it
I want to
takes
see
out
green
all-time
vectors
high
right here.
first and make everybody
Forming.
think otherwise.
I've already seen the red vectors,
You made it this far,
and then we have the
respect,
block.
ladies and gentlemen. Remember, if you want more information on the hybrid system, go
And we
to
have
the
the red
Traders
here.
Reality homepage.
Now we're recovering
and
the
just
red
follow what's
vectors.
going on there. Get that PDF downloaded, as it's going to help you understand the system.
So
And of course, go check out the memberships if you want to get those setups that we showed you earlier on. Other than that, guys, trade safely today. It's a quiet day, but anything can happen.
yeah,
Trump can open his mouth and say something good, and the market might not like.
I don't know where Trump talks. Oh wait, oh no, it's not there.
Here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go. It is markets in the morning. Let's go.
We gotta be careful with this 50 EMA. Kinda just wanna break through it so I know this W formation is valid.
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
I like
is
this
the
guy. It's pretty
Blockchain
good.
Tracker, bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. Welcome
But honestly, if it
to
just stalls at
Markets
the
in
50, I'm gonna
Morning.
take the 80.
Today is Wednesday, May 14th, 2025. This is Markets in the Morning, where we take a look at the price action at the cryptocurrency market, including the Bitcoin price chart, which I have up here in front of us on the screen. We take a look over there at the altcoin market. We'll kick off this day as the stock market is set to open in the next 3 minutes from right now. We'll look over there at precious metals like gold, the dollar, U.S. dollar currency index, and then anything going on out there in the financial world, financial news, crypto news, all of that good stuff.
All right, this is good.
As we get ready to kick our day off. Otherwise, happy Wednesday, everybody. Welcome to the show. I've noticed there's not as many viewers in the beginning, like something wrong with YouTube, and I can tell I'm talking right
Bitcoin
now,
still
but
stalling
I
at
don't
the
see
50.
anything shooting into the stream as if I'm
See how much
actually
we're up.
live right now. So I may have to
$2.
close this out, start up. We're gonna have some technical difficulties here on
That's
a
fine.
Wednesday.
We
I'm
don't
looking
really,
at
we
the
didn't have
chat.
like a lot of
I
news,
could
so I
see
don't
in
really
the
expect
chat
some
people
crazy
are like,
pumps
where
up,
is he? So
unless Trump is speaking. But
can hear and see
apparently
everything we
yesterday
do.
he was
That's
speaking,
wonderful.
and I
Thank you
didn't
guys.
even
Thank you for
know.
showing up. I think there's some issues over
Didn't
here
even
on
show.
YouTube.
Oh,
I'm
he
seeing
did. Yeah, right here.
156 people in the stream right now.
Alright.
Typically at this point we're at like
We do have
1,000,
unemployment at 6.
1,500, and I'm not showing that I'm actually
I
live
gotta
on
wake up
YouTube
early
standing
tomorrow.
right now. So it's
Because we have core.
whatever's going on over there. As long as you guys can hear me, give me a thumbs up in the chat. That's all I need to know. We'll just keep the show going.
Bitcoin's
in here.
still going up.
As we kick off the day, get started, Bitcoin sits at
See where NQ's
$104,000.
at.
What an epic ride.
I would have liked this more if we had a green vector just breaking through
I'm
the
in
50.
wrong stream in my dashboard. Oh, really? Wait, what? There's two streams. One is live. This one isn't. Oh, no. Oh, let me try again. I'm going to kill this one. All right, you guys can hear me. Dang it. All right, we're starting over. We're starting the whole show over. I'm canceling it. We're starting a new stream. Okay. Now we're going to try again. Hey! There we go. That's what's up. There was two streams going at the same time. What
Still at
day?
the
You know
50.
what? Let's go, man. Okay. Yeah. Here's this live stream. It's got 1,200 people in it. That's a little bit more appropriate. There we go. Hey, guys. What's up? Yeah, I'm sitting there talking to a chat room that had like 100 people in it. I didn't know what was going on. I am here. Yo! All right, let's do this. So I'm assuming that you guys heard everything that I said earlier, right? Did you guys give a bunch of thumbs up in the chat? You guys all heard me. Everything was cool. All right, all right. I even missed stuff in here. Santiago coming in, dropping a major bomb. Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. Thumbs up, thumbs up. All good? All good? Thanks, guys. All right. I'm sorry for people watching the replay of this right now. You're like, oh, my gosh, technical difficulties. Can we get this over with? All right, let's dive into it and quit with all that nonsense. Welcome to Markets in the Morning, guys. Obviously, price is for Bitcoin sitting at $104,000. We've played out spectacularly up until this point. It's an interesting thing with this price getting back to where it's at, just scooting right back up to these highs in here. Similarly to kind of what we were really hoping for and how it would end up behaving.
Alright, Bitcoin's looking like it's starting to go up.
I don't know if you guys have noticed that. It just doesn't have the markers of it like it did. It's kind of like we went from like an absolute doomtown scenario to being like we're so back so quickly. But I think psychologically it like impacted a lot of people. I don't know if everybody noticed that. I was talking in the chat, right? I was talking to some of the 702 guys, asking them about it, and I think it's just probably everybody's just exhausted from this cycle. Cycle has just been ridiculously exhausting. It just keeps going on. It's not behaving like all the other ones have in the past, and having a hard time. Everybody's having a hard time wrapping their head around it. And even though things came back quickly, you know, there was such a psychological impact of what happened back over here, and with all the tariff stuff and everything like that. And I think everybody was just tired, and that's probably what it is. And there may have been some bad.
I don't like
decisions
this.
made down in here, and I mean, when it shoots back up like this, or there's no re-entry opportunities, right? But, you know, there's a lot of interesting things going on out there in the market. And, of course, I'm writing the newsletter right now. That'll be published tomorrow morning.
Let me just be patient. Let me wait.
Stuff like that. The whole rotating equity top theory and how that could end up playing out in there. And I don't know if you guys have looked over at things like
I did wake up late.
Or
I wasn't up for the New York breaks.
Right back up to the upside in massively aggressive ways. Like, we've gone through all the different types of forms on what these things can take, on whether they sweep those lows again. The big question is whether or not it would have to, because it kind of already got
Still
all
got
of them.
vectors.
Even if so, just
that need to be
meandering here,
recovered.
still just playing around here for a while, but to shoot its way back up so quickly has been very impressive. And this is really, you know, what you'd look for in the rotating equity top. And some of the dynamics, and of course I'm writing about this in the newsletter, but I'll talk about it with you guys too. Like, I don't know if you noticed it yesterday, and I get crypto people, but you're like we're talking about stocks. But did you notice yesterday that United
I don't
Health
like how
was
it's
down
doing this.
17%?
It's doing the same thing it did right
And
here.
that United Health has been down like 40 something percent here. We spent a lot of time talking about this in Markets in the Morning with United Health specifically because it was the largest component of the Dow Jones Industrial Average, right? And we've seen these indexes all shifting their way back up with United Health getting absolutely annihilated. Another thing too is that we just haven't seen anything come out of Apple, right? So Apple hasn't even taken out any of these peaks over here, and it's still sitting here. So what's fascinating about that? That Apple still sits right there. Well, Apple's the number one weighted contributor to the S&P 500 and to the Nasdaq. Yet you have the S&P 500 all the way through all retracement levels, and you have the Nasdaq through all retracement levels right now. So what's happening? The breadth is opening in the stock market. So the biggest contributors are not the ones that are pushing this whole thing up. It's a lot of stuff that's contributing to it. You know, I saw Lynn on Saunders. She posts like breadth updates every day, and even in all of her charts, it shows how the breadth within all of the major indexes. I know we look at the Russell 2000 a lot to be that thing, which of course the Russell has ripped ever since it's gotten off those lows. But the breadth within these major indexes as well, within the Nasdaq, within the S&P 500, and all of them, their breadth is wide open. It's the most open it's been within 6 months. And of course, that's things that we'll get to here in just a second. When it comes to the crypto market, right? Obviously, you guys saw the breadth indicator is open, wide open. But we're obviously seeing that happen in the stock market. And so this was the major thing that we were looking for if the rotating equity top theory would come true, is that we'd get through something like this and then the breadth would open. Well, United Health, which was the number one contributor to the Dow, utterly annihilated. And then Apple, the number one contributor to the Nasdaq and to the S&P 500, doing absolutely nothing. Yet these indexes are all doing very well because the breadth is opening up. So this is really what we were looking for when it came to a rotating equity top theory, that type of dynamic would happen within the market, and we see that behavior. And of course, things like Roblox have been
We're getting a little
like,
pump up.
watching those types
Just
of
a little one.
charts too, right? To say, hey, can these go? And you can see Roblox breaking
Bitcoin is heading down.
there in February, and these are just things
Not
that we're looking
good.
for.
Kind of just
we're looking
rejecting
for
my
throughout the rest of the market. So that is
my W
fantastic.
formation.
It's fantastic. Now, the thing about these with rotating equity
Green
tops, what do
vector.
they typically do, right? They'll get back up here, they'll do the ABC, and then that's
We're
the
still
final push,
good
and
for
then lights
Bitcoin.
out, game over. The thing about that, of course,
Stop loss is pretty
just what we've been talking about over here with Bitcoin, that it seems logical.
pretty down there.
That's going to be the thing we end up seeing happening over here on Bitcoin. The thing I'm not fully convinced on yet is whether or not being here, if we are still working on wave 4, there's going to be a push up a little bit higher before ABC comes into play, or if we're already working on it
I'm
right
gonna look
now.
at the 5 minute real quick.
I'm not really sure, not really fully convinced on it. You know, when we look at other ones that Bitcoin has done,
So
like the
right
most recent
here.
one it did,
And
that
then we
last
have
back in
right
2024, it did push to a new high. There's definitely no guarantee on whether it will or it won't, but I just do think we will end up seeing an ABC play in here before we actually end up pushing up. And I know that sounds like a broken record, but I'd rather sound like a broken record on that than, you know, do the standard stuff of, you know, prices up, you know, rocket ships, inbound galore, all that stuff, which we will do that. But it either has to go ahead and invalidate that it's doing that, which I sincerely believe it will do that, or we need to get through this first, and then I'll be more than happy to start doing it. And what you would expect here is you would expect sentiment to go in the gutter again. Sorry to tell you that, guys, for the exhaustion out there. You'd expect a little bit
no
more
vector on the
deterioration
5
to happen
minute.
in here too, before we could end up getting that. And that's at least what we did see in here. A lot of sentiment deterioration.
Should have waited for that.
Albeit that this did last for a while, right? I think this lasted for almost 6 months, right? We went from March to November. Is that
We are pretty
8
low on the
months? That was a long
RSI.
time. You can see in here, definitely not. Maybe
We do
maybe
have
2
liquidity
max
right
is what I
here
would think if we end up doing
on the
it.
15.
That's not necessarily saying it will be 2. There's some dude out there listening.
But we
right now saying,
grabbed
hey,
it.
has the 2-month clock started? Don't
Yeah,
trust
we
me when it comes
we
to
grabbed
time.
it right here.
Don't trust anybody when it comes to time.
It's like can
All
barely
right,
see
there
it.
you go. So
Yeah, right here we
it's
grabbed it.
obviously behaving great, and then I tried to tie into that mix of equity markets are doing
Just gonna
fantastic
wait.
at the same time, and breadth is doing fantastic at the same time in equity markets, and that's what we want to see. So breadth is opening in equities, and
NQ
Bitcoin
going
obviously
up.
shooting its way back up in here, given no re-entries at all, and of course we've got really just the exact price behavior
Look at the.
that we would look for us to get up in here. Big question is just, is there still one more little push in here, or have we already done it? Not quite sure, but I'm just going to have the expectation that there's really no action that's going to be taken on my part with my bags or anything like that until we can kind of start getting through this stuff in here. So that's where we're at. As for XRP, of course, yesterday was an XRP video. I know a lot of people are like, let's do XRP videos every single day. Let's talk about all these little price actions in here. I hope that people do understand the reason we even focus on Bitcoin and talk about these things all pertains back to that. Because I'm not in that camp of what a lot of the content in the XRP community is all about. Flip the switch and secrets within secrets, all the money and all that stuff. I'm just not in that camp. That those things matter at all. All the data suggests that it's all one big giant trade, and that you need certain market conditions to happen in order for XRP to take off. And we spent a long time talking about that. And then once the conditions became present, it was XRP, it is time, you may send. What do you know? It just completely goes absolutely ballistic because all the conditions were there. Right now, we have almost all conditions. We have a lot of great things. I do speculate that we probably will have a stall that'll happen in stocks for a moment, that will have a stall that'll happen for Bitcoin at some point, whether it's right here or if it's going to be more like from the high, and then the ABC flag will pull itself in. And then it's once we can get through that, that's the moment where we go ballistic and we go try to hit for that 4.236 extension, which is really my max target. I'll hold XRP beyond that, right? It's not like I'm going to sell my whole bag, but anything reasonable holding beyond that, the risk, I don't have high levels of confidence like I do with this, right? This is all standard price behavior, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, right? Bouncing here on top of the all-time high, all the weekly candles.
All right, we hit
On
21.
top of the weekly candles, nothing's wrong here.
We hit that
but,
vector.
Getting beyond
We
that,
covered it.
you're just really hoping for a lot of things, right? To me, it just becomes way
I
more
could get
hoping
out.
and maybes than being like, hey, I see this all the time, and a lot of times this statistically plays out and goes to these types of
Still
price
looks
targets.
pretty.
But then when we're trying to say, hey, we're going to go beyond that,
I don't want to say
yeah,
pretty strong,
lots of
but
gambling, lots of unknowns. Not that this isn't, crypto in general isn't gambling, but like when it comes to beyond that, I just don't even know how to quantify probabilities on it that it would go significantly beyond that. And it's not to say we couldn't like get up there and then like boom, there's a wick that takes
got a
a
blue
wave up there
vector.
that lasts for a short period of time or something like that. But that's the primary error for me. It's a little bit over 500 billion. It would be romantic for it to end up being 589, right? We'll see. All right, there you go. So stocks open in the positive today. The Nasdaq is up 80 points. S&P is up 10 points. The Russell is about flat. The Dow is up 67 points. So anywhere from flat
covered
to
it.
a third of a percent here this morning. Yesterday was a decent day. I can't recall what the numbers were yesterday. I think yesterday was a decent day. I can't remember. I think most things were green except for United Health, which was down 17%. Russell's still up. Gold, of course, has been taking a fall, and here we go. Gold still continues this fall this morning, it looks like. So what did we end up having? And here you ended up having a 786 Fibonacci retracement, and gold continuing down. So the wave 5, the 5 waves within wave 5. If you guys recall, we were doing all the wave counts in here.
Let's see what it's
And
doing.
we ended up counting even in that last wave. What do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we had 5 waves within wave 5, within wave 5 of a full 5-wave structure. So it seems like that has chilled out, and now that that has chilled out, what do we have? We have Bitcoin shooting to the upside. We have the breadth opening in the stock market, and of course the big one of all of them, in my opinion, because it's data driven, the breadth opening over here in the cryptocurrency market. And this right here is the mandatory thing. So this is the thing, like, to get excited about XRP, that things could actually happen, and that you actually have the breadth opening over there. So The way this thing works is it's tracking 40 different coins. If over 70% of them are making significant moves, if they're crossing particular moving averages, if they're meeting certain criteria, the switch flips on.
Alright, we're back at 21,375.
It's not, and
74.
it's a lagging indicator, right? So this is not something that is going to give us.
Does look like we're gonna go to 21,400.
It's more of just a confirmation indicator to say there's something significant happening in here. Because in prolonged bear markets, you're not going to get that to happen, right? You're not going to get the breadth to open throughout the whole market. It's just a prolonged downtrend of boom, goblin town stuff, and you're not going to get anything to end up triggering.
That is.
So lows actually end up getting.
I wish I could like.
Place. And so to get that happen in there, of course, you're doing these big pullbacks, and there's all the worry.
Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. Before I was recording, I was gonna double up right here.
Right, so it's more
But
probable that we're going to
alright.
continue to see the push to the upside, and of course that's this
See what
condition
Bitcoin's
is
doing.
what-
Okay, Bitcoin's going back up. That's a psychological. I can't say it.
gave XRP its juice to go last time, right? So that's
mean, I
the
can, but
conditions that we
I
need
just
to see
woke up,
happening
so.
in the market for that to end up happening. So we've got it. We know that's mandatory, and so with it happening, we kind of we sit in it. For me, the way I think of it is like we sit in this area.
Blue
where we
vector,
think it's
that's
probably
good.
gonna end up
See on
being
the
this,
5,
right? I'm not
No
taking any
vectors
action, not doing
yet.
anything,
but we are going up.
but it's likely going to end up being this, right? But
We did touch that vector.
could there be a surprise or something like that? Technically speaking, because that's occurring, there could be a
What about on
surprise.
the 3-minute?
I'm not thinking there will be a
No.
surprise. I'm thinking it will be like this, and we've got a couple of months to kind of chill out in here, a couple of weeks, whatever it ends up being,
No.
to ABC in here before the thing can take off.
We
and
do
get
have
going.
liquidity right here that we just
But
swept.
That's there.
I don't know
so
if that's
with the breadth
liquidity.
open, it could happen. So, thank you, Jesus.
See what it's doing.
Bitcoin dominance, of course, taking a spill there down below the 702 Fibonacci retracement earlier this morning, hitting as low as late March. So over the last 6 days, we've taken back the last 45 days of the stair-stepping of what happened over here in the Bitcoin dominance. I think once this thing gets set in motion, it's going to, like we've talked about, when you do this type of squeeze happening in here, it's eventually going to end like that the whole way down once the thing gets set in motion. My thoughts are it's probably not going to get fully set in motion until we get to something like that, or to something like that after a flag can get built in here. But once it does, it'll probably be very quick, and it'll probably take less than 30 days for the whole thing to play out. And for things we'll just have to kind of pay attention to, especially things for like XRP as well. Talk about this from time because this is how it always ends up happening. That the bulk of this move, right?
I think that's a stopping volume.
The bulk
No.
of this move
I mean, it
takes
kinda
23
is,
days.
but-
Okay. So kind of remember.
At the same time, it ain't.
A day where we get like a breakout from here. I would assume that 23-day or 30-day clock is already kicking, right? And that's historically how things go. This is not unusual for things to take that long, and it wouldn't be unusual for it to take that long after that.
See
So
what
if we
Bitcoin's
get a
doing.
breakout from here,
Still at this
we could
range.
be less than 30 days away from the multi-year top of XRP. So keep that in mind if we end up getting it. I think it will go that fast when it eventually ends up happening. Otherwise, we got open breadth. We got a beautiful Bitcoin over in here, just waiting for us to see how deep we are into an ABC correction to eventually show up, whether it's going to push a little bit higher or if it's already kicked into play. Stocks, incredible momentum has happened over there in the stock market. The dollar down, of course, and then gold, of course, completely chilling out. And it's not necessarily bad for gold to just kind of run sideways and do whatever it's doing, just as long as it's not rampaging.
Still
big
holding
run
at
that we saw
13 and
happen
5 or 13.
back there in November. I mean, it's just that, right? It's just that.
Covered that vector.
I think we'll see more than that in gold, just because it's full structure. I think we'll see gold probably come down into the 28s at a minimum, into the 28s. But that's all it took for XRP to run from 50 cents to $3. It was just that. So, all right, there you have it. That's where we're at. That's what we got going on. Stocks, gold, dollar, dominance, breadth,
I want this candle to kind of push up a little bit so it can like,
I'm not married to this.
so I just know we're gonna go up more.
I'm not gonna like cry if it does, but I'm not married to it. That this is how long the last range was, and oh boy, come on. Which would, gosh, if that was the case, we'd already be pretty quick into it. I just don't think we are. It figures a little opium wouldn't hurt, right? All right, there you go. Let's move on over to any type of news going on out there. AI research takes a
I don't know.
to profits.
I think we're at the 5 right now. Oh no, we're above the 5.
Mutual respect it craves from the U.S.
Sorry.
Trauma for businesses is real. Strategy.
See what it's.
Hey, let me
see
ask you
what
this:
it
did you guys
does.
get the frog? Like when I was in that other stream, did we play the frog? We need like a break. We need a frog before I get into the news.
It is Wednesday, my
Mental health break before we hit the news. Here we go. All right. Strategy.
I don't know. It's not looking
public equities with Bitcoin.
too
analyst
strong.
Says, okay, sure. Bitcoin miners halt sales.
Bitcoin going up, though.
Gains 20%.
See what it's doing. Green vector on the psychological low.
Signs of life after post Bybit shutdown.
That's
Metric
good.
Signals $250,000.
On the 5.
Bitcoin is best case. Sold
No
hype
vector on the
tip for
5 though.
gains. Trade secrets. Bitcoin remains
Not a
unmatched
strong vector,
as a
but
global inflation hedge. That is such
should have a vector right here.
$1 billion Bitcoin exit Coinbase in a day as analysts warn of a supply shock. Man, you can smell it. You can smell the narrative coming. That's all it's going to take, man. All it's going to take is the U.S. government saying that we actually bought some Bitcoin and added it to to our balance sheet or whatever. That's all that's going to have to happen. The market's kind of like wound up. What do we do? We've climbed this wall of worry. We don't really know what to do. What do we do? Government, we bought. Oh, gosh. This is what news does to me, guys. Ugh. All right. $1 billion of Bitcoin exit Coinbase in a day as analyst warns of a supply shock. BlackRock flags quantum computing as risk for Bitcoin ETFs. Bitcoin price sells off after Trump's U.S.-China tariff deal. Here's why. Okay. I don't think so. That might be old news. U.S. prosecutors recommend 2 years for SEC hacker. Is that the SEC hacker that like revealed the Bitcoin ETF a day earlier or something? That just seems so fake. Bitcoin profit taking at $106,000 for the first stop before new all-time high. Bitcoin price highs. Wait, what? New all-time Bitcoin price high. Bitcoin profit taking at 106K is the first stop before new all-time high. New all-time Bitcoin price highs. That's the first stop at 106? Okay. I think there's been multiple stops, but okay. Before new all-time highs, yeah. I mean, it's not. It's what 2.5% away from 106. So, fair enough. All right. I think it's time to hang out in the chat.
We aren't really doing anything with these these candles.
General outlook.
We're still above the 5.
Crypto, it just remains as
That's why I'm
exact
kind of
same
hesitant. Like,
message,
do I want to
good
get
or
out?
bad, just like saying the same thing over and over again to you guys without like hyping
And
it out of
Bitcoin
control or saying it in like
still holding at 50.
This has kind of been the idea for the last couple of months,
Yep.
and what would hopefully end up being the blow off top, be the thing that just unwinds the Bitcoin dominance and the market. So far, it's played like that, which is great. But there's that. I think that's gonna come. I don't see us sooner. I don't see us just plowing out of here and going much higher. I think the excitement phase of the market will come once we can get through that. And otherwise, it's kind of a waiting game.
That's
So
my
I think
TP right
it's
there.
a good time for it to happen. happen too.
Or, like,
'cause,
right there.
I've got a couple of things where I'm going to be away from YouTube.
So I'm gonna be
throughout
close.
The summer.
I
The
gotta
last
close
week of
fast.
May, I'm going to be away from YouTube. The first week of June, I'm going to be away from YouTube. There will be a week in July where I'm away from YouTube. I don't know if this will take all the way till July, but I would suspect we'd still be in it in the last week of May and in the first week of June. So it's kind of a good opportunity for a little bit of the things that I'm going to be taking care of outside of the YouTube channel. So, kind of enjoying some summer months here, or summer weeks here during the summer months. But, I think we just kind of got to go through that. And then we will all be holding hands, singing Kumbaya, except for the people who are just always mad at life in general. So, they say no. Yeah, I announced it a couple of weeks. I'll put it in my next video too. I'll make sure people are aware of it. This is something I've had planned for a while, but just like, thank you guys for the kind comments. I'm not really going to comment on that video from last week too much, but I've done this gig long enough with YouTube to know when it's an appropriate time to share things. Things like, hey, I'm going to be away from YouTube. They don't want to hear it down here. It gives the trolls ammunition. Yeah, you're running away. Even though I show up, constantly show up when sentiment is in the absolute trash can. But when prices are up, perfect time to tell you. There's a week off at the end of May that I'm out, and there's a week off at the beginning of June that I'm out. And there will be a pit stop in the middle where we'll be able to come in and say hi on the YouTube channel in between those two events. So, that's what's up. So I don't know how many times to tell it without being like, inbound coming, super moon, mega surge, rocket ships. We're all gonna make it. It's gonna be super epic after we get through that. So that's where we're at, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and hop on into the chat and hang out with you guys. I hope I didn't miss anything. I said Santiago, my man. Thank you, sir. No comment, but always huge support. I appreciate your brother. Before the stream started, Gator had gifted 5 BCB memberships. Thank you, Gator.
I'm gonna get out.
Order filled.
Not Oscar had said, yeah, I messaged you on X, and you have 2 streams going. Yeah, let me go see if I can at least kill that other stream.
Not
There's nobody in
bad. Not a bad trade.
There were people in there.
Got in right here.
They're like, hey. Okay, let me kill that one.
I don't know. It was kind of just stalling right here, so I just wanted to get out. I still think we're gonna go to 40, 21, 400.
You can't undo it if you permanently delete it. It's permanently
But we do
deleted.
have a stop and volume
There we
candle,
go.
so
Thanks, guys. Sorry about that.
it could just be a fake
I'll tell
one.
you exactly what happened.
We could just
It's not my fault.
check that stop and
YouTube
volume
crashed.
candle and come
When
back
I
up.
pushed start stream, it said an error has occurred. Try
We're
again.
still holding
And it
at
reloaded the
13.
screen for me to create
Pretty
a new
well.
stream. And so I created a new stream because it told me to,
It's past like
but it created 2.
3 days we've been holding this 13 EMA on the 1 hour.
RS says where
We'll
is
wick
greater
and then
than
just
10
bounce off it.
Bitcoin at? I have not.
We
checked
haven't
the
went
rules
back to
for
an EMA in
unless if it's gonna make me log in, and
since
that's gonna be a pain for me.
since Friday. So, hey, what you looking at? I went back up. Oh no, I didn't. We are high on the RSI too. I could short here,
TC.
but I don't really want to just base it off a vector.
They're still distributing. So, my
And we're
thoughts
still
are on
holding
top
at
of
13.
Bitcoin is between 120 to 130.
Bitcoin though,
They're not reaccumulating.
up 5 buckos.
There you go. So as the price goes up, they sell, right? So we saw this back in 2021, right? They're selling into the strength and distributing. right? We haven't gotten down to those levels.
Bro, why is my
Here's-
PC making that noise?
Let's say this is probably the low. These ones right down in here.
I forgot to turn it off last night.
So I think if
So-
we had gotten down there, they're probably done. They've done all their work. So we'll watch that. We'll see if that thing starts tanking tremendously when we get into the 120s and maybe 130s. I'm not convinced we'll get to the 130s.
Yep.
Almond Bean, hey man, could you pull up
We
a dot?
touched that second TP.
Guys, I'm gonna try to avoid like. What happens is we'll get a tremendous amount of $2 super chats for people wanting altcoin reviews. The honest opinion on this, two things could come from it. Simple as that. I don't think it's going to take off until we see the Bitcoin dominance fall. So this one is not exhibiting anything that is special, right? It's not exhibiting anything unique that makes it different. For example, things that are unique and make it different are things like BNB, right? BNB has shown exceptional strength versus the market, right? Things
What
like
I realize about
XRP
myself,
have shown additional
let's say
strength.
if I win a trade, like I won this
versus the
trade right
market,
now,
right? This has made it
like
special,
yesterday, I realized
right?
like
You can find charts.
I didn't win a
sprinkled all
trade, but I
throughout,
lost.
all of crypto.
When I would lose a
Uh,
trade, I would want to get
Just
back
things that
in,
look like
so I was
this, like an
literally
avalanche
revenge
looks like
trading
this, I think.
and not
So there's
looking
nothing
for
unique about this right in here that makes it seem like it's
my
special.
confluences and my bias
So, what could that mean? It
to
means
see if
it's a
that trade
liquid
is even
move
valid. Like,
whenever the whole
is it
market
showing
does.
everything?
And the risks are going to be all these different retracements. Thing is, of course, could it pull off some miraculous Ethereum Classic thing? Sure. This is what Ethereum Classic looked like. Let's see.
I'll be back though. Still looks like we're gonna go to 21,400.
Did Ethereum Classic have a fundamental reason to be one of the chosen ones to go fly into the upside, or is it just market stupidity? Probably just market stupidity, right? Is there always a chance that could happen to this? Yes. Was Ethereum Classic keeping up with the market and showing any type of exceptional strength on its own at that time, right? Here we are in January of 2021. It's still at $5 in January of 2021. Fast forward 3 months from there, it's at 175. Could something like that happen? Sure. Is it statistically probable? I don't think so. For me, it's going to be watching the rest of the market and just keeping an eye on each one of these retracements. And it's going to be, are we seeing other things happening at the same time? And I'm writing about that in the newsletter too, that it will be a confluence thing, just like it was in 2021, and having to identify that confluence. I think if you saw SWE and you saw XRP hitting a 4.236 extension on their market cap at the exact same time, that's probably enough confluence for everything in the whole market. Then we go try to make the case everywhere else. Then we go say, all right, are you hitting this retrace? Are you only hitting a 382 retracement at the time? Or are you exactly at a 702 retracement at the exact same time as SWE and XRP are hitting 4.236 extensions? Or BNB is hitting a 4.236 extension at the same time, right? Honest take on it, it's not showing any type of strength or anything special at all. It doesn't mean it can't do something stupid, because we see that in crypto all the time. You guys buy meme coins named dog poop and you 50x them. So anything can happen. But it's not like showing solid strength at the gates. It's still, I'm writing through, because somebody in the last markets in the morning was like, hey, we took a look at developer activity and user activity, so that's included in this newsletter. So I just went through and looked at it. Data's still in the top for development. So there's developers still on it, right? So does it have the fundamental backing to go with it? Yes. Still have has the fundamental backing for it. Just the chart in itself is not doing anything spectacular that makes you say, man. That's exciting, right? Like XRP's chart.
Alright. Looks like we're going down now. We might touch that 50 and come back up though. So
I don't think these jokes are ever for
Bitcoin.
me. Hi, from the North
Not-
Alaska. First video I saw was
not looking the
August 30th
best.
of 2021. Thank you for
I will
everything
say
you do.
that.
My dollar went to therapy. It lost its sense of self-worth. Thank you.
I don't know. Bitcoin's been weird. If I go to the 1 hour,
Hear in the background on
go
that
to the
one.
1 hour.
Might have been a miss. That one might have been a miss. Ethan Davis.
There hasn't really been a
Check
lot of
out
green
Gary
vectors.
Brecka's story
Like there's one right here, but
or
we just
PBW.
swept it
Alright,
and it was a
thank you.
block, so we just came
No,
back up.
20 months. Remember for 19 months I said BCB, thanks for sharing that chat. You got
And then like, I mean, there's green vectors here, but we don't really go anywhere.
two new followers from Sweden. What's up, guys? Thanks for following.
We're not going anywhere. Like, made that big wick and then we just dropped.
Menike company says 4.236.
But we do have liquidity here and here.
High range is $33.
So tomorrow could be a red day.
I'm not sure which one you're looking. I don't know how you're calculating this or what you're doing. This is 33.
Now we're
We have
underneath.
influence factors in here for both of these things to get us there.
The
Both
800
ranges,
or
our
200 or
big
50.
range and our current range. And maybe I'll do a renewal video on this later this week or next week, talking about that on building these ranges on top of these highs, and then 4.236 extension from those ranges, right? If you remember with Ethereum. I swear, I've saved my life now that I know how to do this. All right.
See what happens here though.
Wait, we have the wrong one. Where are we? Right, like that, right? So like we talked about with the dominance.
I kind of want to just look at Bitcoin right now since I'm in that trade.
Right, this would imply as well, like a 2x in price at the same time.
Bitcoin doesn't really
Right,
move like
Bitcoin really
Nasdaq though.
stays in that $100,000 to $125,000 range.
It'll have its
And
moments
XRP
though.
goes up to 12%. It still gives us that 2 to 3x price level from where we're at right now. I think, look,
Still
I'm
at the
cheer
50.
for the price of XRP to go beyond that, right? There's
Bounced
no
off
question I'm
it.
going to cheer for it. Just as somebody who's created YouTube content on this, I mean, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to tell you this right now. Be very, very clear with you. On social media, I'm going to get burned at the stake. I can spend 6 years talking about that being the target for 6 years. I can get chastised the whole time. You're an idiot. It's never going to happen. XRP's stupid. It's never going to happen. XRP's the best coin. You're a piece of trash. SEC, FU, BCB. It's not going to happen. Blah, 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 blah. We're going to die. Blah, 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 blah. All we got here? Screw you, BCB. We're going higher. And I'll get burned at the stake here because I've seen it happen. Every time we do stuff like this, once we finally get to the target, I become the most hated man in the world once we finally get there. So that is my target. It's not going to change, and I'm selling it. Simple as that. Am I cheering for it to go higher? Of course. But for the 6 years of creating YouTube content to get there, that's as far as I can take you with reasonable level of confidence, guys. That's it. There will be all the new gurus to come in, to come to sell you the hype of 10,000, 1,000. And frankly speaking, I know that the majority of XRP holders have a bag that depends on $1,000 XRP price. That's where I can take you. That's as far as I can with any reasonable level of confidence. Will I have a moon bag to go further? That will either be a hero or a zero? Yes. Will I lose everything that I hold from here? I think so, probably. But if it shoots to the moon, great, man. I got a bag. But I'm de-risking massively there. That's the price level. Garlic bread.
See what NQ is doing. Yep, holding that 50, coming back up.
Wait, it's weird. Member for 8 months, then you became a new member? I don't get that. Okay, it skipped a bunch of stuff. I gotta go back. It skipped a bunch of stuff. Oh, you became a new member. I guess your membership had expired, and then at 8 months you came in and said what's up. All right, but I also skipped Tony Wynn. If the ABC correction, what XRP price would pull back to? I want to buy that dip. Thanks. I don't know what it would pull back to because I don't know if XRP is going to go up and hit the 786 retracement level first. I don't know if we're going to go hit $3 first. We're in the middle of the range right now. So we'll need to see where the price kind of tops out at for XRP. My thoughts are if we get this kind of play out right in here, that we would see Bitcoin get down to about 95K. My area of interest will actually be this thing over here. That guy. Remember the Trump pump? That thing? That's going to be the area of interest for me. So where XRP lands when that moment happens. Obviously, none of our corrections take us that low. None of our corrections get us below the 618. But I'm going to guess there, knowing that, this seems logical. 97K seems the most logical out of all of them, right? That seems very logical. 97K, 96K. But I think it could come as low as 95. Jonas Gonzalez asked, is Crypto Brett still open? I've already covered that, so that I'm about 20 minutes behind on this. Hey, I have a question for you guys. I'm going to do this really quick. I'm running a poll because I've really been thinking about this. All right. How would you guys feel? I'm going to run the poll here in a second. How would you guys feel if rather than starting the markets in the morning 5 minutes before the market opens, it starts 30 minutes before the market opens? It still runs for 1 hour, but it starts 30 minutes before the market opens. There you go. I get it. Nobody likes change. Everybody's cool with change. Or nobody's cool with change. Would it be cool if markets in the morning started 30 minutes earlier than it does now? Okay. But give me your honest opinion. But Jonas, yeah, Crypto Breadth is still open. Wide open. Normiest Nerd, member for 21 months, says, I love the AI update story. Thanks for sharing, and I wish you and your family peace, love, and happy memories. Thanks for all the market education. Thanks, man. Yeah, that's a dude. Thank you. It's gonna be really embarrassing if that was a chick, and I looked at the picture really closely, and that chick's like, I'm a chick. You looked even closer, and he's still confirmed, dude. All right, RS. We already got that. Where is greater than 10 BTC at? Oscar Hernandez, my brother. He says, good morning, everyone. Over 2,000 views. Hit the like button. Frog and BCB, will you be building tree houses after the cycle ends? Asking for a friend. Oh, I guess I don't get it. I don't understand what the tree houses thing is. JJ Jacob says pause in June. Alt's about to moon. Perfect timing. Yeah, so it's kind of interesting, right? I have no idea what the Fed's going to do. Who knows? But, obviously we did the Fed live stream last week, and what was he constantly saying? We're not doing anything because we don't know what to do because the market is too crazy and we have no idea what's going on. And he, of course, punted it over there onto the Trump tariffs, right? And so then what do we get over the weekend? Tariffs cut from 145% down to 30%. So, the thing with it going to 30%, I don't remember what you call this. This is some kind of term, right? Like, you punish somebody, but then you reduce their punishment, and they're grateful for just the reduced punishment, right? They're just grateful to have that. It's kind of like that a little bit, right? Like, instead of the 145, we still have 30. But the thing with 30% tariffs is 30% isn't going to cause an embargo. So there will be trade resuming at 30%, right? Probably still reduced trade, but not like 145%. 145% effectively stopped trade. I'd written in a newsletter telling how much it would cost. Like if you just I'd shown what it looked like importing a container back in years ago, that like a container with like $45,000 worth of items in it would have like a duty or a customs fee of it of like $1,500. That's what you would pay as your duty coming into the port. And then with the new tariffs, that duty you'd have to pay $65,000. So we're talking a $45,000 container with a $1,500 duty cost, now turning into a $65,000 duty cost, right? It's just the cash flow for small businesses to be able to handle that. It's just not there. It's not in your pipeline of handling that.
Damn, bro, this dog is just fucking annoying.
Just effectively caused an embargo and stop trade entirely. So 30%, there's still going to be struggles.
All
like
right.
people are probably going to have to run to
Bitcoin
banks
going
to
up.
try to get loans to try to cover this and things like that to try to continue operations.
$5.
But I think operations probably can continue at 30%, not like 145. That just stopped. Anyway, Powell said they're not going to do a dang thing with the way tariffs are, and seeing what impact that's going to cause in the market. And then just a few days later, we end up getting the reduction in the tariffs to 30%. So we'll see. Oscar's over here tweeting at me, laughing. The tree house thing must mean something. Tom Bombadil, member for 2 months. Hit the like button, fam. What do you have planned after profit taking this season, VCB? Man, I'm boring as can be, man. I haven't done really very many vacations. So anytime I've been away from the YouTube channel over the last several years, it's always been, like if I'm out of town or something like that, it's always been crypto-related events. Australia, Las Vegas, New York City, Miami. It's all been crypto stuff. So, maybe some time just to, like, do some things and nothing too flashy. I'm very boring.
NQ still stalling at the 50.
I think I'd recarpet my house. And I don't have really bad carpet, but it's always been on my bucket list. Like, once we got into this house, I was like, I really want to recarpet it, right? Because when you live in a house where, like, there were people in the house before you, then all of their people's stuff is still in your carpet, right? It's not like it's full of stains or shredded up, but, like, there's a psychology of it that, like, what's in that carpet? I don't know. Carpet obviously isn't tremendously expensive, but that's on my bucket list. But frankly speaking, at my age, with children, married, I'm looking towards the future. I'm looking towards, how many years can I buy financial security? So it's not like, how flashy can I buy? What nice trips or experiences can I go on? I'm totally in this, like, mindset of life of how many years of financial security can I buy just to maintain my current lifestyle. PTW is like, oh, I got a list of things we can get. Just hit me up. But yeah, mostly treasury bills, high yield savings accounts. That's about it. Tony Wed says, hey, BCB, when an ABC correction comes for XP, what do you think the price would fall to? I got you. I already got that one. Some tricks. You mentioned dog poo coin going 50x, but I can't find it anywhere. Just kidding. Keep up the good work and sending prayers to you and your family. Thank you very much. Appreciate it, brother. Freedom for all. Thanks, BCB. Thank you. Manica Company. I'm using 0.236 as 340 and 1.62 as the bottom. I got you. Yeah, I don't think we're there. So that's more of like wave 3 style stuff on like mega super cycles. What you're talking about, which would be like using the correction of Bitcoin from 2013 to 2015. And my thoughts are this is completely fifth wave for XRP for now. Wave 3 was what happened in 2017. Just don't think we're going to see those kinds of percentages. Choose Mo's. If Bitcoin tops at 120, 130, do you still think we see the typical 70 to 80% drop to 30 to 50K, or a more shallow drop than previous benchmarks to like 60 to 75K? I would think we'd at least minimum see something like that, right? I think we'd take out those lows. And I'm real conflicted on it. Because I think we'd at least see 64. But will it be a lot worse than that, right? And I think we'll have to wait and see what macro's doing at that time. And I think this ended up being like a measured move, head and shoulders. And
Still stalling. Kind of glad I got out the trade.
played out before the bounce comes in. Yeah, there's the bounce.
Still in Bitcoin. Kind of rejecting the 800 or 200.
So that becomes at least a full
On the
head
1
and
minute
shoulders,
though. That's the 1 minute.
play out in there. So if you ended up getting like
We're at the 800 and the EMA. We're really close. Everything's close on the 5 minute.
and then say it happens from up here. I mean it still matches in there. Maybe it's lucky. Maybe it's not the end in Gloom Town, Doom City, game over forever for Bitcoin, but it's more of like a $55,000 to $65,000 level. That might be reasonable. And I've already thought about it ahead of time that I'd probably be buying Bitcoin in that area, regardless of if it is kind of a slow bleed in multi-years.
No, we're going up.
Out and, we have to kind of wait for
103. What is that? What is 103?
I'd probably still be I'd start my accumulating in these areas down in here, in this zone.
103 is liquidity, I'm assuming.
Ash,
Or it's
BCB,
Monday.
how's the drumming going? And as a drummer, are you a fan
It's Monday
of
low.
a progressive metal band? Gotta be careful with saying that word. I don't know if that word is dangerous
We'll
or not.
recover 50, the 50% of the vector.
I don't know if I got into a trap. I don't know. I'm not gonna say that word. I'm trying to say it out loud. I don't think it's bad, but I'm not gonna say it. Drumming. So it's been totally casual. I haven't been playing as much lately. Like, I hobby jumped is what happened, right? Like I hobby jumped from drums to being like an insane gardener. My garden is ridiculous. It's dumb. I'm pulling. I'm pulling so many vegetables and fruits from my garden right now. So that's been the whole thing. I've been on that big kick. Like, and you guys get so mad when I talk about my fig tree. Like, fig tree propagation in my entire like garage setup with grow lights and fig cuttings that I did. Which all those figs are anywhere between 3 to 4 feet tall now. Bill's Fam XRP says, bro, my garden is nuts. Cucumbers and peppers are going nuts. Yeah, that's primarily it. And if you have tomatoes,
A lot of purple
depending on
vectors.
your climate, right? So my tomatoes just started coming in. There's like a lot of green stuff, but I haven't pulled that big harvest. I'm just staring at them like, come on, turn red.
See what NQ's
But
doing.
peppers,
Ooh,
yeah.
NQ hit that. That fucking vector I was talking about.
If you're looking for
On the 5 minute.
blackberries, all right, I'll stop. I'll stop
Yep.
right here. I've been
It
playing with
filled
the
it.
blackberry game. Okay. If you want a variety of
Not
blackberry
bad, not bad.
that like absolutely crushes it, that is like minimum effort, very vigorous growth, puts on a lot of blackberries and big blackberries, it's the Prime Arc Freedom. Write it down. Prime Arc Freedom. Nurseries should have it. Even your Lowe's and Home Depot may have it. I don't know. I'm telling you, blackberries galore on that thing compared to my other ones. My other one's sad. That one's crazy. Yeah. But I mean, I messed around on the drums the
Just
other
kinda,
day.
I can either
My
find a
daughter is
short
still
or a
killing
long.
it. She's going to be learning the guitar here starting pretty soon. She's been really big into piano and singing, and so it's been really fun to watch her become like a lead singer. But now she's going to start doing the guitar thing. So I'm thinking she's wanting to kind of become that guitar singer person. Rub your belly and tap your head at the same time, kind of thing. So that's what she's going to be doing, and music I've just kind of taken a step back from it. I think what ended up happening was
See
that I
what
was so
Bitcoin's
committed to doing
doing.
well that I
Still
didn't want to let my
stalling.
band down. But I was managing crypto at the same time and then managing practicing at the same time, and it felt more like a chore for me, the practicing at a point. When there was so much going on in crypto, then having to squeeze in time to make sure I was practicing and up to par to be able to do these shows and not let the band down, because everybody's listening to the drummer. If the drummer's off beat, the song sounds weird. So I knew there was a lot of pressure on me to make sure I had that right. So I kind of took a break from it and just kind of gotten back into it and just kind of hobby jumped. But it's still fun to go over there and just start whacking them. The drums. All right. Bassam, thanks for the insights. What other coins that will hit 4.236 fib and it's always on market caps? He wants to know what other coins. He wants to trade calls. He wants the coin picks. First of all, thank you for the generous super chat. Man, I try to avoid a lot of that. It just doesn't benefit me to do that. It actually is just more of a nightmare if I just try to kind of like do coin picks. Because if half of them crush it and kill it, that's awesome. It'll be forever that I'll hear about the ones that don't. And I know with certainty I won't have 100% track record, and so I don't want to hear about the other ones for forever. So I kind of, after doing this for 6 years, know not to spend a lot of time wasting energy on that. Lots of YouTubers try to make their gig by here's picks, here's coins, here's 100x gems, and things like that. How's that worked out for anybody following that? If it worked, you wouldn't be here anymore. That's for sure. But yeah, Gibbs. Why did the blind man fall into the well? He didn't see that well.
Going up.
Gibbs, thank you. Never 15 months, my brother.
How long have I been in
We're
this
right
trade
in an
for?
hour. What perfect
I
timing.
bought in right here.
Oh, jeez.
I would have already gone out. I probably would have been at like 200 bucks
Julio, is the Litecoin chart appealing?
if I had more money, but it's alright.
Insanely appealing about the Litecoin chart, but there's also
Start small, one bit, or
not appealing.
I don't know. I was gonna say some dumb
I
shit.
just don't know what to think of it. It's like a giant range. It's not crazy to think it couldn't go there. But, we're just kind of waiting for the animal spirits to arrive in it, and I'm unsure if it will for Litecoin. Litecoin, for those who don't know, like in 2017, if you would go to Coinbase, which of course has a tremendous amount of assets now, you had three choices when you would go to Coinbase: Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin. That was it. And then eventually later in the year, once the hard fork happened, you got to also get Bitcoin Cash. And that was the fourth asset that was added. But it used to just be Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin. And so Litecoin's an OG coin. It's something everybody knows who's been here for a long time. Just is there very much going on with Litecoin? It doesn't show up in any data that I ever look at. Ever. Developers, users, anything like that. But it's OG. And sometimes OG is good enough, but I own Litecoin, by the way. So I've had bag Litecoin for who knows how long I've had a bag Litecoin. But I'm not afraid to let go of it in the event that we see confluence emerge throughout the market. Okay. So I don't see anything.
It's an information right there.
Amazing about Litecoin.
Boom. Retrace. Boom. Don't really see why we'd go down though. I mean, there is liquidity right here. On the 1 hour.
All right. We're at an hour. I think we're almost done. Bassam, can you show potential silver Fibonacci? Thanks. All right, silver's within two ranges right now. That's its current range. So, look how interesting. I haven't even noticed that. Where it is. Look at that. All right, I will say it. The next new high in silver is the breakout. Right? And people say, oh, maybe. But look, these are new highs. These aren't breakouts. That's new highs. That's new breakouts. New highs, not breakout. New high, not breakout. New high, not breakout. I'm going to bet the next one is the big breakout. That's going to be it. $35 silver. We never looking back.
It'd be so, like, dude, silver would actually be good in investment.
193. Who knows how long that'll be? That 10 years from now, maybe. This thing goes slow. You guys who like to day trade your silver, where you go buy it, and then 6 months later you've lost your conviction, you go back to the coin shop and sell it for a $3 loss, planning to buy it again in 3 months from now. I don't know what you're doing. But it could take a long time. I mean, just to get from here, this is January of 2016. That's 9 years. This is like the entire lifespan of crypto. Popgunna, if XRP at 4.236 extension, what coins would you recommend to rotate to that are lagging heavily? I would not no rotating at that point. Out. I'm using that as confluence.
No, we got to
it's
run
not
back
to say
there.
there won't be some that end up popping off after that in the coming days after that, but I'm not interested. This has been a long journey. Like everybody said, they're exhausted. I'm not gonna have a portfolio deterioration happen at that point. John L, is the dot chart still resembling Ethereum cluster? So we just showed that. Thank you, John. William Devine, once BCB cashes out, he's going to hide cash from the IRS and the snare drums. Quick question. After the cycle, we have an epic stock market crash. Given crypto follows, will it also have a 10 to 30 year bear? Will crypto have a 10 to 30 year bear? I don't know. Will the stock market? You would think so. My personal thoughts are yes.
might
we
just
are
get out
now
of
in
this.
the
I kind of
rotating
been in this
weekly
trade
top.
for a while.
That's why we saw the breadth collapse on
See
the
what we
last
do at the
run, and we
50.
didn't see an expansion throughout all markets. That we will see some euphoria happen throughout markets. We will see things move here, and breadth open up throughout the market here. But after all this is said and done, the U.S. may not be at least the U.S. indexes may not be the place to be. Xenogen says, are you setting your targets for XRP sells? Can you tell us what percent at which target you're setting? I'm not prepping it yet. But it will be at least 65% before we hit $9. Box Games. You might like the drummer from a band called Sleep Token. I'm hooked on their music. Super talented and super diverse. See, I don't know if that's a crypto thing. Everybody's like looking for the contract now, right? But thanks, Box. I appreciate it. All right, guys, there we go. We're at 1 hour and 7 minutes. Keep your eyes peeled. Tomorrow morning, I'll have the new newsletter published out there. I think this is just going to be the story for us right now. You're going to have all the classic people saying, "Sell and make, go away. See, told you." Maybe. But I think it's short-lived. So, all right. There you have it, guys. Check out the newsletter at blockchainbacker. Oh, my gosh. Edward comes in with a 50 bomber of memberships, man. Edward, thank you. Doubtless says, I'm sorry, I know I'm
Looks
not
like
green,
NQ
but
is
I'm
gonna
just
start
wondering
dropping.
if wondering why you use
Might
the
just get out.
chart still, sir. So the best
Bitcoin.
charts to use are.
It's kind of slow
I don't
today.
know if Binance chart. Let me see if Binance has updated itself. I mean, you could use this one. The problem is it doesn't have the data here. Let's see what the tethered one looks like. It's probably not going to have it. It's definitely not going to have it. Coinbase is obvious. Obviously they delisted XRP at one point, and so they reestablished it there in July of 2023. So we just don't have the data in there. So the main reason why I use it is it's just the most complete chart. But it even does have a flaw in it in itself. It's actually missing like 30 days in here. Where is that at? I think there's missing days in here. Yeah, see, like 161 days, but 134. It's right here. There's a massive gap in time right here. Look, we like are skipping weeks in here. So there's flaws with this chart too. There's just flaws in every chart. But it goes back the farthest, and that's why I use it. But the Binance chart is actually complete, so you don't actually have that missing there. So you could use that one. But when I'm looking at things, like if I'm actually studying what's going on today or what's happening in prices, I do zoom in on Coinbase. I'm typically looking at the volumes on Coinbase to see if anything's happening in here. So if there's ever a move or something like that happening, I always come to Coinbase to see what the volumes look like here. So.
Yeah, NQ's dropping.
Oscar Hernandez says, hey, when members only. How about this Friday? Yeah. Let me confirm that. I'll post something, but I don't see why Friday wouldn't be okay. I know I have something big going on Thursday. So Thursday afternoon, I'll make a post and confirm whether Friday is cool. Okay? So I can't promise Friday, but I'll confirm it with you guys on Thursday if Friday is cool. But Edward, thank you very much. Hey, I was going to go through the outro and I got sidetracked there. Let's do the frog. Froggy Frog. There you go.
It is Wednesday, my
All right, guys. Thank you all so much for your support. Thank you for all of your kind comments last week. We go through and manually approve those, and I
It's 9. What time is it? 1:15. I'll wait like 30 more minutes. This trade isn't anywhere. I'm just gonna call it. Call it for Bitcoin. I haven't really gotten a good trade on
Guys, welcome
Bitcoin.
back to the channel. I hope you're doing well. Today I want to go
I've kinda
over
just been
one of the trades
focused on
that I took
NQ.
last week, which was a Cardano long that actually netted me my biggest trade ever. Okay, my biggest risk reward ever is $17,558, and it was this trade here, a trade setup that I gave in the Nexus, which is my premium network. And I want to go over how I came into this trade, and I want to show you guys that trading doesn't actually need to be difficult. You just need to know what to look for. And again, I do teach you guys what to look for in the Nexus. That's the last time I shill it. 17558. Let's talk about how we got this trade set up and the execution behind it while this bug is on my ear. Okay, so high time frame stuff. Listen, you always got to start at the high time frame stuff, and you got to be paying attention to what your structure is. A term that I always say every single day in the Nexus that I teach and I preach is when in doubt, structure out. Okay, so let's zoom out to the 4-hour time frame and let's just take a look at what Cardano is doing. When in doubt, structure out. What is your structure on Cardano? You have low, you have high, you have low, you have high, you have low, you have high, you have low, and then you have break. Okay, immediately you have a high time frame flip, which is telling me that we are very likely going to be coming higher. And what we're looking for on the smaller time frames when we jump down in, which we're going to investigate this section in just a moment, is that we're looking for a higher low to then target a higher high. But we're not blindly targeting a higher high. We need to have context in the market. We need to make sure that things make sense. And if you take a look here, this line, which is called equal highs, you had semi-equal highs on Cardano here at 77 cents, which was ultimately where I was targeting for my long position, as you can see right over here. So we have a lot of buy-side liquidity on the higher term time frames that we can go and tackle. And we must always keep in mind the 3 reasons why price moves. Number 1, to attack liquidity, which is what this did. Number 2, to generate liquidity, which we're going to talk about in just a moment. And number 3, to rebalance and imbalance, which this also did. So let's just jump down on the lower term time frames and understand how we came up with this trade idea. First things first, like I said, on the high time frame, when in doubt, structure out. We know we're looking for a higher low, higher high. Then we're looking for how can we actually enter this idea? How do we know when that higher low, higher high is potentially going to come in on Cardano? And the answer is jumping down to your midterm time frame and looking for a structure flip, whether that's 5-minute, 15-minute, 30-minute, 1 hour, depending on how the structure forms. And you're always going to be paying attention to your return to zone. So not only did we have high time frame buy side liquidity here on the high, right? High time frame. Sorry, I'm using my mouse because I'm outside. But you also had this midterm time frame liquidity being generated to the upside as well. So we have a really beautiful return to zone, a really good high confluence idea, and then it just comes down to the execution of it. Now, as you can see on Cardano, if I pull up a new box, we were forming a range here, okay? On your range, we're looking for a Model 1 or a Model 2 accumulation. You're looking for accumulation models in a place that makes sense for that pullback to come in. So let's resort back to our rule. Sorry for flipping and flopping. Let's resort back to our when in doubt, structure out scenario that we're always talking about. Where did your structure actually break? Your structure broke here. This was your break, okay? The last sell to buy, which was this guy here, the last high to the low to the high, that created this break is always going to be the best zone for you to come back into and back test, okay? So this internal break caused this swing structure break, okay? I hope that makes sense. I hope we're following along. So we're immediately looking for that to be our zone in which we're going to get the retest and then the flip and the reconfirmation, okay? Now, coming into this range, you can see, coming into this zone very clearly, you can see you have your 1 tap, you have your 2 tap, and then they kind of played around with us a little bit in this little range here, in this little manipulative range. But that ultimately could have been your 3rd tap accumulation for price to inevitably go higher. Now, in the attempts of actually executing this trade, I had the idea. By the way, follow me on X. The link's in the description down below and in the comments, because I posted this general idea of this being a PO3 where you have your range, you have your manipulation, and then you have your expansion to the upside. I posted that on X. I'll put the Twitter up, the tweet up right now on the screen. But I posted that on X, so go follow me on there, because I do post these ideas from time to time before we actually, take them and perform the execution in the Nexus. But we're looking for an accumulation model. We ended up getting what appeared to be a failed accumulation, and then we formed a PO3, which, like I said, is your range, your manipulation, inducing traders into believing that we're just going to go lower because, oh, we broke the support, and now you're backtesting the support. People are going to think that you're going to go lower, when in reality, this is just a trap. It's a standard retail trap to then shift price to the upside. But when in doubt, structure out, because structure will always give us the answer. So let's structure out. You have low, you have high, you have low, you have high, you have low, and you have high. Okay, so this internal break, okay, we're going to make this light blue. This mid time frame break that we had here, we're on the 30-minute, we're going to go 30-minute time frame. This 30-minute break right now is telling us that this higher time frame block is likely going to hold, okay? So I'm going to say that again. Your high time frame flipped bullish. Your mid time frame, which is this light blue now, confirms that this block is going to hold. It doesn't mean that the low is going to hold, although it is likely. It more so means that the block is likely to hold. Okay, beautiful. When in doubt, structure out. After you get your break of structure, you're expecting a higher low to then make a higher high, no different than we just did on our high time frame. The reason why this was a swing trade is because your swing structure flipped bullish, and this was your first retest of your midterm time frame structure that just flipped back to bullish as well. So now, as soon as you get that, we got to start playing the game. Now, I have a confession, because this trade was a little bit poorly executed. Although the idea was there, I did have a little bit of poor execution, and we're going to go over it right now. But I want to remind you all that just because you're good at TA doesn't mean that you're good at trading, okay? You got to get good at the execution as well. And every single week, I go back and I look at all my trades. I look at all my poor executions, and I'm always looking to improve. And there's always room for improvement. There's always a lesson to be learned. Even me, someone that's been doing this for years now, there's always something that you can do better. We're human. We make mistakes. And in this exact example, I made a mistake. So while being able to identify the fact that we came into this high time frame zone, being able to identify that we had a higher time frame PO3, right? This was your range, this was your manipulative range, this box here, to then push to the upside, I was able to actually enter this trade a lot more aggressively than most people. Not only did we have a, we'll call it high time frame PO3, but we also had a very local PO3, where you can see that just right over here, you're forming a lot of liquidity to the highs. You broke down. You form what appears to be a Model 2 accumulation, which actually ends up being a PO3. This is your TP1. You break above it. Sayonara. Okay, so I actually entered the trade initially right over here. Okay, I entered initially right over here. I was in my Cardano long. I was in a beautiful position, and I was up $9,000 right at this point here. Remember when I said I had a poor execution of the trade? Technically speaking, if I just stuck to the rules and I kept my stop loss below that low, which makes sense, I would have had a lot more of a higher P&L than my 17.55, whatever it was, right? But my problem specifically is patience, and my problem is, man, the round tripping lately is just out of this world. And I've been round tripping quite a lot because the market's been so choppy. And because I've been putting on big position size, I get very emotional regarding the P&Ls, right? Like being up $9,000 and then round tripping 8.5K of that, I don't think, oh, I'm up 500. I think I just lost 8.5K. So that's something that I need to work on, and I actually am going to be making a video. Let me know in the comments down below if you want this kind of video. But April, I've been very vocal about this. April was not a good month for me in terms of P&L. I actually broke even. Actually, not even. I took a little bit of a loss in April, but it was an all-time high for me in terms of trading development. So if you guys want to see more of the trading development, the mindset, the psychology part of it, not necessarily just this kind of technical execution side, which we're going to still do, but if you guys want to see that side of it, let me know in the comments down below. Anyway, So I'm thinking, oh my goodness, we just round tripped, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So I didn't take profit where I have to take profit. The thing with the way that I trade specifically and what I teach in the Nexus is when you enter a trade, which we can get very high risk to rewards. This trade objectively, like it was a 25.65 risk to reward trade. We don't get these every week, but they're frequent enough to, you know, you get 2 of these, 3 of these a month and you're pretty good, right? So when you get these kind of trades, you have to take profit aggressively because you're going in big capital, right? Risking 1% on a 25 risk to reward is a lot different than risking 1% on a 2 risk to reward. So I made the mistake of not taking profit where I should. I made the mistake of sleeping because it seems like all the good moves happen during London, during at 3 a.m., 4 a.m. my time. We obviously rolled over. And this is where the execution, I had poor execution rather. So because I was up 9K and then I just round tripped 8.5K, and because I am using bigger numbers, it's very hard for me to practice what I preach in that when I say don't focus on the dollar amount, focus on the percentages. The percentages are always going to lead you a better, we'll call it mindset, better trade management. You're not going to FOMO in or FOMO out or get scared or have fear. Because we as humans are not attached to a percentage. We're attached to the dollar amount, right? So if I tell you, oh, I lost $8,000, that means something to you. But if I tell you I lost 30%, it doesn't really mean like 30% of what? Nobody knows, right? Whereas 8,000, you have your relation to 8,000, I have my relation to 8,000. Money is an emotional thing. Money runs the world literally. So you have to try to detach from all that. And that's something that I've been unable to do, especially with the bigger numbers, right? With the smaller numbers, I'm fine. With the bigger numbers, I'm like, man, I just round tripped $8,000. Like, that's a lot of money. Anyway, so I round tripped. I didn't take profit where I needed to. Poor execution on my end. However, in the Nexus, we still had this trade. And we're going to go over it, and it's very simple. I'm going to show you that trading doesn't need to be complicated. It can be. You can make it hard. But I trade very simple. It doesn't need to be complicated, and I teach you how to do this. So when in doubt, structure out. What do you have? You have low, you have high, you have low, you have high, you have low, you have high, you have low, you have break. You have low, you have high, you have low, you have break. Okay, so what was the last sell to buy that caused this structure? No different than we just did on the high time frame, right? This internal break caused this higher time frame break. So this zone right here is where I'm looking to long it. And once again, you're just playing the game all over again. So let's just jump down to the fractal time frames. And this is, by the way, guys, how I get these very big risk to reward trades. This is how we get these Nexus trades. These trades are called the Nexus trades. This is how I get it, right? So I know the zone that I'm looking in. I know what I'm looking for. I'm waiting for my structure confirmation. This gray box is the box that we're looking for. And then once again, we're going to play the game. When in doubt, structure out. What do we have? We have low, we have high, we have low, we have high, we have low, we have break. So what does that mean? That means that you're looking to long, and at some point you got to just pull the trigger. You can't just keep looking for breaks until you're blue in the face. You got to just go for it and put your stop loss where your stop loss is supposed to be. I just spat all over my MacBook.
This is Wix Studio, built to meet any brief. When your project calls for bold creativity, design freely on Figma and seamlessly move to Studio, where your vision takes shape. Wix Studio, built for the way you create.
But right here, objectively, this break is telling you that this low should hold. Why does this low make sense to hold? Well, we already mitigated every zone that we needed to do. We hit a high time frame zone. We trapped the traders into thinking that we were going to go lower, and we have liquidity to the upside. So this is a Nexus trade. This is an A+ setup. Absolutely. Came back down to retest that level, and then even if you were still, for whatever reason, not content with all of the market structure flips and all of the confirmations that you had on Cardano, you even had, I don't know why it always makes me go like way back and not where we were when I change time frames, but even still, right, you had the break. We're going to put a box over the break. I know there's a lot of boxes, but go back and watch this video if you need to. Stick with me. When in doubt, structure out. Do I sound like a broken record yet? You have low, you have high, you have low, you have high, you have low, you have high, you have low, you have break. Okay? Boom. Mark it in. See you later. And that's really ultimately how I got this 25 risk reward trade. This was a setup that was given in the Nexus. And, we wrote it up, and it was very simple. It was a very obvious trade. It was very easy. Again, trading is not easy. Don't let anyone tell you that trading is easy, but trading is easier when you know what to look for. And the truth about the internet is there's a lot of nonsense out there, and I know you know what I'm talking about because everyone experiences it. Anyway, so I got into my trade, okay? And I will say this, again, because I was emotional about the round tripping the first time, I ended ended up taking profit way earlier than I should have on this trade because I didn't trust it. We've been in round trip city. I didn't want a round trip. I was like, again, emotional putting these big position sizes, which I will make a video about. And as a result, I took profit where I needed to take profit, which was here. This is a non-negotiable take profit. And then I took profit, aggressively along the way, when in reality, when we did our plan, as per the morning stream in the Nexus, the plan was the plan, which was to come up to these equal highs at the very minimum, okay? Now, by the time we made our way up to these equal highs, I did take quite a bit of profit out, and so my average exit, I think it was like 72 cents or something, when if I just held it, and especially if I held it just on the first trade, this would have netted me about maybe a $55,000 or $60,000 trade in one trade. And that's why I say to the Nexus all the time, like, we don't need to be the people that trade, take 5 trades a day. Just wait for the one Nexus trade, hammer that home, and then make 50K, Let's just say that happens once or twice a week. You do the math. Now, they don't always end up being 25 risk reward. So please don't take this as like me advertising is that we're always going to get that. If you decide to join, we're probably not going to get a 25 risk reward, this week, for example. But they do come from time to time, and they do pay out very well. And when they're really, really good setups like this one, this was a Nexus trade all day. When you get these trades, these are the ones that you can really control your narrative, which is the tagline for the Nexus.
Bitcoin,
another trade that I had, which I
it's
dropped
not
the
doing
ball on,
anything,
is
so
an Ethereum long. I longed Ethereum, and
I'm just gonna get out of it. I'm waiting, it ain't doing shit. See where NQ's at. Oh, NQ dumped. Oh wait, no. NQ went up. I knew it. Look at that. Retraced to the 50 and then we bounced up. Basically, we went to 21,419. I knew it. Stopping volume candle, dump down. Dang, I wish I was looking at it. It's alright though.
I also posted this on Twitter, so again, go follow me. I longed 300 ETH right here at 14.
I don't really want to get out of Bitcoin.
And had I held that up the whole way, that would have been a $300,000 trade. Guys, you gotta understand, I came
Just
from nothing. I
waiting.
don't have $300,000. Okay, but to get that in one trade and to build the confidence in being able to trade that way, that is priceless. So, am I mad about missing 300K? Not at all. Am I mad about missing 50K on ADA? Not at all, because the next time it happens, I'll be able to hit it hard. And because I went through April, which was a very development month for me, that's what's going to compound my gains later on and get my mental straight, because the analysis is there, but the analysis is only one part of it. If you guys want me to make a video similar to this one about this Ethereum long, I will do the exact same thing for you. Let me know in the comments down below. And if you want more psychological videos, I'm going to start doing those a lot more. I think I like to do those. I think the TA is easy. I stopped going live every week, and I cut the schedule because we're all looking at the same thing anyway, but this is the stuff that's really going to help you learn. I could come on live and talk nonsense and waste everybody's time when nothing's really happening in the market, but I could alternatively spend the time to make these kind of videos, these recap videos, and actually help you understand how am I actually entering the trades, the side of trading that YouTube doesn't see. Everybody sees when it's already said and done. Nobody sees it actually happening in real time, at least not that I'm seeing. Like, how did I enter the trade? What was I looking for? Why did I enter here? What was my trade management? Why did I cut some here? Why did I TP here? What was I thinking here? These are the kind of trades that I like to do, and really the psychological stuff, because I feel like for me, even as a growing trader, trading is a journey. I'm not at the finish line. I don't think there's a finish line. Even for me, someone that's been doing it for years, someone that has a channel with 12,000 followers, and by the way, I thank every single one of you guys for subscribing to me. I'm still on my journey. I'm still looking to push and progress. And for me right now, my struggle is adding that extra zero. So my trades went from hundreds of dollars to thousands of dollars, and now I'm trying to push it to tens of thousands of dollars. And I am ultimately, struggling to do that. So let me know if you guys want me to keep you guys in the loop with what I uncover in regards to getting over that hump. Let me know if you are getting in that hump. I know I'm telling you guys to let me know a lot of things in the comments, but let's get the comment section going and flowing. And if you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask. Yeah, that was my ADA trade. my biggest P&L of all time. I'm very proud of it. I'm not very proud of my execution, but it's a learning opportunity. So I'm not proud of my execution, I still got the trade, which was good. I still made 17K, which is a lot of money. And it's a learning exercise. And now we will apply what we learned in this trade and every other trade moving forward. So that's it for this video, guys. If you like the content, make sure to hit the like button. Only if I deserve your like. If I don't deserve it, don't hit the like button. If you loved it, hit the subscribe button. It's a beautiful day. I'm going to go enjoy my day. You guys have an amazing day yourselves. If you would like to join the Nexus, which is my premium network, you get access to myself. You get access to my morning streams every morning. You get access to my live real-time updates. You get access to my trade setups. You get to know exactly what I'm doing. I'm sitting short on Bitcoin right now. You get to know all of it. The link for that is in the description down below. I will see you guys next time. Peace out.
Yeah, I'm just gonna get out this trade. Let's see what MQ is doing. might just end it here and just go study. I'm gonna end it here. Bitcoin's dropping, so I'm glad I got out. But pretty alright day. Made some money, just didn't get a lot of trades, just kinda annoying. But at least we're not down the day, so